Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dokkan Battle video, and today we have got some updates for part 2. I don't think they're telling us everything yet, obviously, but we do have some nice tidbits of information, so I thought I would cover that in this video, also with maybe some speculation as to further details that could be coming from this information, right? So the first thing we have in here is they have announced that Jason Birder's EZAs are going to be dropping soon with the next part of the update. It's saying that starting tonight on the 7th, the Ginyu Force area will be taken down in time to prep, so my assumption would be that these could be dropping as soon as tomorrow, maybe in a day or two, but very, very close, right? So we're getting Jason Birder. So what I want to do really quick is I do want to look at their current kits and maybe speculate at what they're going to do. I do think that Jason Birder could be two of the more exciting characters coming out of the Ginyu Force, right? So let's just take a look at them really quick. So let's look at Birder first. So when we're looking at Birder, and we look at his current kit, the first thing he's got right away that makes him exciting is that he already infinitely stacks defense. So just the fact that he is an infinite stacker and that he is getting like a big boost to his stats, like that alone is going to be enough to help him be a much better unit. Now, they probably will add something else to this. Best case scenario, they do raise attack and defense. That would be best case scenario in my opinion. Just to make him infinitely stack both stats, I think could be pretty crazy. They most likely will give him something like raises defense, lowers attack, or raises defense, lowers defense. Probably something to that effect, right? Then when we go into his passive, right now he gets 10% attack per key sphere obtained. I think they for sure are going to increase that and possibly also give him like a start of turn passive. So what if they give him like, I don't know, 50% attack and defense on start of turn, and then maybe they give him like 15 or 20% attack and defense per key sphere? I think something like that would be very fair. And then he has a high chance to evade enemies' attack as the first attacker in the turn. Now the way that this currently works is that he actually has to attack first before the dodging kicks in, which makes it very, very poor because being the first attacker, that's the only slot where you're vulnerable before you can attack, and forcing him to be in slot 1 to activate this is not a good look for him, basically, because he's going to be fairly weak defensively right now, and he can't actually dodge before he gets a chance to attack. So I think there are a couple key ways they can fix that, right? So obviously the first thing is they could take as the first attacker in a turn off and just flat out just give him the chance to evade like straight up. They could keep it where he still gets the chance to evade on super attack, but then maybe take out the as first attacker so you could put him in slot 2. I do, however, like the idea of like a dodging unit as a slot 1 unit. So for me, best case scenario is they just make it a flat out high chance to dodge, like 50 to 70% chance. If they did 70% chance like UI Goku, that would be fairly busted, right? So if they did something like that, that would be crazy. And yeah, just I don't know. I think something like that would be cool. If they really play on the dodge too, they could do something where like every time he dodges, he gains attack and defense, like something to help him stack even more. I don't know, something like that would be crazy. But for me, if he's even just more of a defensive unit and just always has the dodge and can stack defense, to me that would be like a very, very good for him, right? So I think that Birder could be quite an interesting unit, right? So let's look at Jace. So looking at Jace here, this guy's probably the one I'm looking forward to most, just because the way his kit is now, I foresee him being just like a generic, like put this guy on any extreme team type unit, which makes him very, very versatile and valuable, right? Basically any team he can go on, right? So right now his super attack effect is supreme damage and raises allies attack by 20% for 1 turn. This isn't the greatest super attack effect for him, because units that have this raise allies attack by 20% or 30% or whatever, basically this is making him a support unit, but he has to attack first for it to happen. And the way Jace is built, he's really built as like more of a slot 3 unit. So the super attack effect is going to go to waste. What they'll probably do is they might raise it to 30%. But they need to do something, like if they really want this part of his passive to work, they're going to have to drastically change something in his passive to make him like good in slot 1 or even slot 2. I mean, slot 2 still isn't the greatest because then you're only buffing your floater, which in some cases can be good, right? But in the most cases, that's going to be your floating support. So really, to get the most out of that type of skill, you want him in slot 1. So his super attack effect, quite honestly, could end up being a throwaway. Now, just like with Birder, they could just say maybe add defense down, they could add attack down, you know, just something generic like that, which would be fine. The reason why I think he's going to be a great slot 3 unit is right now, if we look at his passive, he's just Extreme Class Allies Key 2 and 20% attack, and then he has the Scouter effect for C super attack. So the reason why I'm so excited about him is this potentially could be like the first like super attack seeing unit that is like very versatile that you could just throw on any team basically. You know, we have other Scouter units like say Vegeta and units like that, but they're not, and like Piccolo too, like Piccolo and Vegeta are probably the most prominent ones, and then I guess Android 13, right? But these aren't units that you just like throw anywhere like on any slot. Like Vegeta is probably the most splashable unit, right? Because he's just that good. You could splash him on other teams. But when you're looking at Piccolo, Piccolo needs very specific team builds to function. In Android 13, you're forced to run him with the Android 14 and 15 free-to-play unit because that's the one that actually gets it. And they're just an okay unit, but for the most part, they're going to bring the team down more than help it. So like this Jace, let's say his EZA is like, they just go Extreme Allies Key 3 and 30% attack and defense. I think that's very realistic. They'll probably give him a start of turn passive, maybe attack and defense 80% or something crazy like that. And then just keep the Scouter effect on, like boom, this guy's perfect, right? Because as a floating support unit, you just need enough defense to get by. With the Scouter ability, he's going to be able to avoid supers if he is weak defensively, right? So as a 30%, so if this guy's a 30% 3-key support unit, I would probably pick this guy even over 40% supports because he's got that Scouter attached to him. The Scouter, I've said this several times in videos, but the Scouter to me is like one of the most valuable effects you can have in the game. And there's a reason why they don't give it to a lot of units. It's because it's ridiculously good. The only thing that makes you lose in the game is super attacks. And knowing where super attacks are basically allow you to beat the game. So by having a unit like this floating around where you periodically can see super attacks can be a real great help to you. So I really think they're going to keep them simple. They're going to just increase that support passive to 3-key and 30%. They're going to give them a little bit of start to turn attack and defense, I think, and they're just going to keep the Scouter on. So he's got a very simple kit, but like I said, throwing Jace like on just any extreme team like is going to be a fantastic idea. Any team he goes on, right, or any categories he fits on. All right, so let's go back into continue looking at these other part 2 things that they're talking about here. All right, so we've got this new event, right? And we've got a new farmable free-to-play character, and this guy's is 100% an exchange unit. So this is a Krillin that awakens into a Vegeta and Krillin exchange unit. You can tell it's an exchange unit because it has Krillin / Vegeta. Anytime they do that, that means it's an exchange unit. So what this means is the card is going to start as Krillin, and then it's going to exchange into Vegeta. What this means is the card will hold Krillin's categories, but not Vegeta's, and then he will exchange into Vegeta. Had this been a Vegeta exchange to Krillin, which I know doesn't make sense, the categories would be a lot better because then he could be on like Pure Saiyans and stuff. But Krillin alone has okay categories, so we'll look at Krillin's categories in a minute and try to figure out what this unit's going to be on. But the categories should follow Krillin. Now the thing that's going to be really wonky about this unit are the links. Because if you imagine a Krillin link set exchanging into a Vegeta link set, like, this is not going to be an on-rotation unit that you want to actually have and be doing that, right? The nice thing, though, about it being an exchange unit, depending on, like, when you can exchange, if this would be, like, a crazy, like, turn 1, like, optional active skill exchange, then it could be kind of cool, because then you just plan on either link set, and you could link it with whatever unit you want. So let's look at the passive of the SSR Krillin. Now, keep in mind, this is nowhere near what the full passive is going to be, but Krillin is attack and defense 40%, plus an additional attack and defense 20% when performing a super, medium chance of evading an attack including super attack, plus an additional defense 20% up to 40% with each attack evaded. Now, obviously, like, I think there are things in the kit that show potential. Obviously, at the state it's at, it's not that great, but remember, he's going to awaken. And so they're definitely making this Krillin to be a more defensive unit with the dodge in there. He's definitely not going to be like a crazy attacker. I could see them upon awakening even putting in a support type passive in there. They're definitely meant to be like a Namek Saga unit, right? So when this Krillin awakens into Krillin / Vegeta, they could make him a support unit. I think what they're going to do though is when Krillin exchanges into Vegeta, I think they're going to make the Vegeta very offensive, and I could see the passive changing completely, like just being something totally different that we don't know. Otherwise, they're going to keep it similar, but then make the attack and defense go through the roof. But 100%, this Vegeta is going to be like more the powerful attacker. The Krillin's going to be more like the defensive holdout type of unit. Now, I believe this Krillin and Vegeta is from the scene. If you guys remember in the Namek Saga, there's a part where Vegeta kind of realizes that like Saiyans get stronger as they get hurt. So he intentionally has Krillin like deal like a semi-fatal blow to him so that he can recover and get stronger. So that's basically what this is from. So if they want to introduce something new, I mean, I'm just going to throw out a what if, but what if this is a revive mechanic? I don't know. I don't know, it wouldn't work because Krillin isn't actually the one reviving, so maybe revive mechanic isn't the right way. Like, if this were a Krillin Vegeta, like, joint forces card, because I could see it being like, you take damage, Vegeta takes that critical damage, and then basically he revives. I think Dende revives him with, like, a Senzu Bean or something, or, no, Dende just flat out heals him because he's a Namekian, and then Vegeta gets way stronger. So, I could see in some way, shape, or form, like, revive being a part of this. It could be interesting if, like, the revive mechanic triggered the exchange, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. It'll probably be something, though, triggered on damage, because it's like Vegeta taking damage and then Krillin hits him. I don't know. Or maybe it's after X number of attacks because Krillin's attacking. It's really up in the air, guys, but this is 100%, unless this is a misprint, this is an exchange unit because of the way the name is there, right? Now, here's the other thing I want to bring up, because I have had people ask me, and I think this first came up with Zarbon, right? When we got that free-to-play Zarbon. People asked me in the comments, you know, is Zarbon going to be a free-to-play LR like Master Roshi? And as soon as we found the stats out, the answer was no, because in Hidden Potential, he only had 3,000 for his Hidden Potential stats, right? People are going to ask the same thing about this Krillin Vegeta card, right? We are not going to know. My guess is this will be just a traditional awakening and then maybe an EZA. And what I think they're going to do is, because the part I haven't gotten to yet is Zarbon is going to awaken also during this part of the event. I think what would happen then is in part 3, this one and the Zarbon would both EZA is probably what's going to happen. But we'll know for sure. I think there should be a data download either tonight or tomorrow. Once we get the data download and we can see the hidden potential stats, if his hidden potential stats are 5,000, he's going to be an LR. But if the hidden potential stats are 3,000, then he's going to be just a TUR, right? I do think this will still be a TUR. But very interesting unit, like kind of a surprise unit, like something we weren't expecting, right? Okay, so then we go into here. Here is the Zarbon. So we knew this already. Zarbon was going to awaken into Zarbon into Doria. They announced this during the Dokkan now. No announcement for an EZA though, right? But if you look at the calendar, this event's going to go until like October 5th, which is like a crazy long time. It's still like a full month, like 4 weeks from right now. So there's no way this is just a 2-part celebration, right? So it's fairly obvious that we're going to have a part 3. Part 3 is probably going to have an EZA for this guy. Probably an EZA for the Krillin Vegeta. Possibly another surprise EZA, maybe like an LR EZA, like a 90% unit. People are talking about maybe the 90% Trunks. People are talking about maybe Bardock. And you might think, well, what do Bardock and Trunks have to do with Namek Saga? Well, the thing is they've already done the main fight from Namek Saga, right? Like Frieza and Goku. So Trunks would be like, well, what happens right after Namek Saga? That's when Trunks comes. So they could be doing like a lead into the very beginning of Android Cell Saga. That's how Trunks could be involved. You might say, well, where's Bardock come in? Well, Bardock, remember, isn't a part of the main series. He's just a special. He's in a Dragon Ball special, and it heavily involves Frieza, which is heavily involved in this celebration, right? So since Bardock comes from an animation special, not even technically a movie, right? Like, I don't know that Bardock is movie heroes. Well, let's check really quick. I'm pretty sure Bardock isn't movie heroes, but maybe he is. Maybe they consider that special a movie. Let me look at just this regular Bardock here. Yeah, so he's not on Movie Heroes. So like, when would you fit in Bardock, right? Because he's not a part of the main series. He's not gonna be like for a movie celebration. So the way you fit in Bardock is you fit him in more like in the timeline with what's going on, or connect him to a character that's heavily involved. Well, Bardock has clear connections to Frieza, so I think if you're gonna do a Bardock card, like this is the type of celebration you do it in, right? So people are talking maybe the new LR is a Bardock, but this Bardock right here, this physical one, this guy would be primed for an EZA. I mean, it would be an early one, but he definitely could use it. And here, so there are several connections to Bardock in the celebration. So Bardock and Frieza are the winner-loser cards for the competition coming up. So there's actually a Bardock card already announced coming out. And if you haven't noticed, as a part of the Ginyu Force EZAs, you have to use Bardock characters. So, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, could they just lead in and do EZAs for the whole Bardock squad too? Could they finally give us the last copy of this guy? We've been stuck at 79% or whatever for how long? Like, let us rainbow this guy, but they could do a lead-in and have part 3 be like Bardock special or something, right? Like, I don't know. Like, at first it seemed like, yeah, maybe the Bardock squad was required just because they're the other, like, set of free-to-play units. They want to kind of connect them that way. But there are some Bardock ties here in this celebration. So, Bardock is definitely an option, right? So let's look here at the next thing that's in here. And this is the last piece. So, very small, but they are adding a support memory to this story event here. And, yes, it looks like... I mean, I don't think it's actually announced here. Yes, okay. So they are finally going to allow you to awaken this Goku. So some people have been confused. But let me just go to that physical Goku really quick here as well. So let's just do Goku. And Goku's such a huge name that I'm going to have to go Fizz here also. So let's just go Goku Fizz. It's this guy right here. So he's going to awaken into this guy. So if you already have this guy, it's because you got him during the 3rd year anniversary. They have not had a way to get him since. That Goku we can currently farm up becomes him. So you can see there in the character growth that it becomes him. So they're going to allow you to awaken him. So all of a sudden we've got 3 free-to-play units awakening. So odds are they're going to do like an EZA area and probably awaken all 3 in part 3. Maybe they'll give them each their own EZA area. I don't know. But odds are this guy's going to get an EZA because right now, like, this guy isn't good. Like, it's basically a guarantee he's going to get an EZA because this guy is not usable right now. So I think he's going to get an EZA. Krillin Vegeta will EZA. Zarbon and Dodoria will EZA. We do not know their details at this time, right? And I think that's basically it. Let me just go in and check one more time. Yeah, that's basically it for new announcements. So there you go, guys. That's some new stuff coming up for part 2. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you're excited about it. I'm excited for these Ginyu Force characters. Now notice too, I guess I'll throw this out really quick. There's no talk of Int Ginyu, right? Who's like the main leader. We know he's getting an EZA. This is the other like guaranteed clue we're getting a part 3, right? So in part 3, they're going to drop the Int Ginyu. But here's the thing. They've been dropping all these in pairs. So I think it's 90% or higher chance that they EZA one of the LR Ginyus. I think it's going to be the Tech Ginyu Force LR because he is tied to the free-to-play ones. I think there's a couple of scenarios that could play out. They could just do an EZA just like these two and just put the Int Ginyu in a pair with the Tech LR and do it that way. Or what I said earlier in a video that I was theorizing is they do some type of team build where you're basically, maybe you're required to use the Tech LR Ginyu non-EZA'd, but then you have to use the rest of the Ginyu Force EZA'd to get his medals. I could totally see them doing something like that to EZA the LR Tech Ginyu. I don't know that it's likely that they EZA both, but they certainly could do the physical Ginyu Force LR as well. But he's Battlefield, and they have no precedent for doing EZAs for Battlefield units. So I have no idea if that's actually going to be a thing or not. It would be a good opportunity for them to introduce it though, right? So we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think of part 2. More hype coming. Very excited for some new content. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.